I'm going to start by calling this regular session of the school committee Wednesday, April 15th to order at 6:01. And we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance
to the
flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under God,
indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. Michelle, will you call the roll for us, please?
Mr. DeForge,
Here.
Mrs. Granger,
Here.
Mr. Leone,
Here.
Mr. Quinty,
Here.
Mrs. Reshoots,
Here, thank you, Michelle.
Mrs. Simmons.
Here. All right, at this time, I will entertain a motion for us to enter into executive session. We will be entering into executive session pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 21, Subsection A, Subsection 3, for the purpose of conducting strategy with respect to collective bargaining, as conducting this deliberation in an open session would have a detrimental effect on the bargaining power of the committee. The committee will return to open session following the executive session.
So moved.
Moved
Second,
and seconded. All those in favor, we'll do a roll call.
Jonathan DeForge, aye.
Joyce Reshoots, aye.
Jim Quinty, aye.
Cheryl Simmons, aye.
Joe Leone, aye.
And Michelle Granger, aye. We are returned to regular session. And I will announce that those attending tonight's meeting should be aware that the meeting is being audio and video recorded by ASRSD. Any audience members who wish to record any part of the meeting must inform the chair, who will announce the recording. This is to comply with the Mass Wiretap statute. A listing of matters are those reasonably anticipated by the chair which may be discussed at the meeting. Not all items listed may in fact be discussed, and other items not listed may also be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by law. Is there any public participation concerning anything on the agenda tonight? All right. Not hearing any, we will move on to our consent agenda, which tonight includes the minutes of our regular session meeting from April 7th, as well as a warrant memo dated April 10th, 2020 for accounts payable warrant 1140 dated April 3rd, 2020 for $840,633.81, which is a biweekly AP warrant, and payroll warrant 21 dated April 10th, 2020 for $399,756.44, which is a fiscal year 20 biweekly payroll.
I'll make a motion. Oh, go ahead, Joyce. Are you?
I make a motion that we accept the warrant memo, please.
Second.
Consent agenda? Can you rephrase that to be the consent agenda? So
Oh, the consent agenda, okay. That includes the warrant memos.
Second.
Oh, you want the whole thing? Okay. I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda, including the regular minutes and the warrant memo.
Second. Third.
Good job, Jonathan.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. So moving on to new business, Dr. Malone, an update on the April vacation for April 21st to 24th.
Sure. Thank you, Madam Chair. I notified the committee the results of the ASRA ratification meeting. 4 to 8, I don't remember the exact number, right around there, that approved to continue the remote learning through April vacation. So with the school committee vote and the ASRA vote, we will continue remote learning Tuesday through Friday of April vacation. One thing I'd like to state publicly is Monday is a state holiday, and I feel strongly that it should be observed for students and parents and everyone else involved. My administration, teachers, we need to observe that state holiday. So, thank you.
All right, anyone have any questions on that? So then we'll move forward to subsection B, the proposed 2021 school committee meeting schedule. Dr. Malone.
Thank you. So Michelle and I are trying to drive an agenda of some of the action items that are annual items because depending on what happens in the future, we don't know. I know we have policy that we want to do in face-to-face and such. So the attempt here is to provide the school committee with some of the annual action items. So before you is a proposed meeting schedule for next year, beginning in August. And I had spoken to Michelle and said I didn't necessarily look for a vote tonight. You might want to look over the meeting and look at calendars yourself. But of course, whatever is the will of the committee.
Yeah. Anyone have any questions? Want to look it over and come back next meeting with a vote, or?
Yes.
Overall,
Okay. It looks like it follows our regular pattern. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah, it does. But you know, it's always good to take a second look
Yep.
at my opinion and provide your input as well.
Okay. All right, everyone. So why don't we
One
just
quick question. Is that November 1, election day?
It is. Well, so that's a professional development day in the district.
Yeah.
So it's up to, the committee, if you prefer not to have it on that day because it is an election day and maybe that's fine. But it is the election day. So,
I move it one day before or one day after. I think not to have two meetings in that month. That's a very important month. I think it becomes a little crazy if we wait. And then you get Thanksgiving messed up in there too. I'm not looking at it, so I could be totally wrong.
yeah, so November 3rd is the first Tuesday of the month, and that is election day. And we have a PD day, and then we have another meeting scheduled on the 18th, which is the week before Thanksgiving.
So, Jonathan, can I just ask you, is your concern with that meeting just your personal ability to vote? Or, I'm wondering if we change the time to set,
No,
would
I
that be-
just wanted to make sure that because I know we do typically do PD that day, that everyone who would be around and, if Dr. Malone and Mr. Caleri weren't going to be, if they were going to be attending offsite PD or whatever, I don't want to make it more difficult for them to have to drive all over the place. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah, we're actually hosting the PD. That's the day where we do the collaborative with Littleton and Harvard.
Okay.
And we're hosting it this year. But I mean, again, whatever the personal preferences are, So
I see no reason for us not to meet.
What did we do this past school year?
Well, it wasn't a national election because
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah, right. But we did have the day off, and I'm going back to 2019 in November. It was the 5th. And
we met. I think we met because it was
I think we did too.
Nicholas's birthday.
No, that's fine. I just wanted to bring that up. I think it's perfectly fine. Like I said, I didn't want to inconvenience anyone to make them have to drive 10 ways to Sunday, but
Right.
Otherwise, to me, it looks great. I think that, February always is funky to me because we had that vacation in there, and I always feel like because we're in budget season, it seems like we go a month without a meeting. But that's just my little gripe there.
I mean, we could, you could add a meeting. I think we've always said too around budget, we add meetings if we need them. Because I think you have that option to add another meeting as long as you give the ample notice.
Oh, no, I understand.
Yeah, no, but you could, if you want to, add another date in February, that's fine. I have no problem with it at all. Just kind of follow what we've been doing. There's a lot of, there's going to be a big impact to the budgets, state budget, with disclosure and stuff. So I don't know what we're going to be dealing with next year for.
Yeah.
They're not even sure we're going to have a budget for July, to begin the next fiscal year. And as you know, as Bill informed you, they passed the law that for regional districts, that if we don't have a budget, the Department of Education will assign a 1/12 budget to us.
Well, right now, we have an approved budget that just has to be approved by the town meetings. So at this point, we have a budget. I think the question might be if we might need to reallocate some of it at some point, because there'll be different demands that we need to fulfill.
I think the concern was, Maureen, I should have clarified, is that if you can't hold town meeting, and so you don't get an approved budget.
Right.
Yeah.
So we won't know until June.
Right. Actually, the Shirley scheduled their meeting, I think it's June 23rd. Town meeting. I had that in my notes. I'm sorry. I probably a little discombobulated myself here. But I had to tell you, and I put it in my calendar. The town meeting is June 23rd, and the Air Town meeting is June 15th.
So they moved them again.
Well, Air had moved theirs. I think I had notified you maybe the last meeting that they had moved it to June 15. And then Shirley, I actually saw on their website or somewhere that they had moved it to June 25th.
23rd.
I mean 23rd, sorry, yeah.
Okay, so I was just looking at the calendar too. So if we met February 2nd, the school vacation week is the 15th, we'd be meeting either the next week or we'd have 2 meetings in a row the first week of March. So maybe we leave it, or we can think about it, or we leave it as it is and then add a meeting if we feel like we need it.
Okay.
But if you guys want to look it over, compare it with the calendar to make sure we're not scheduling something on a holiday or whatever, we can vote on it next time, if that works.
Yep, that's fine.
Yep, okay.
We'll bring it back next meeting. That's what.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so let's move on to item 10, the superintendent's report. Dr. Malone.
Yes, my report doesn't have a lot in it. Updating the school closure, no information on whether the school closure will be extended. Remote learning will continue through April vacation, April 21st to the 24th. We are in week 2 of remote learning. So remote learning in the district did last Tuesday, which was April 7th. So this will be our first full week. And the middle school trips are canceled to Mountain Classroom in Washington, D.C., and the parents were so notified last week. And these are communications from the Commissioner of Education, Mr. Jeffrey Riley. I just basically took his language and lifted here for you. The Student Opportunity Act, the legislation that the governor signed today gives me the ability to move the deadline for the 3-year plans required by the Student Opportunity Act, May 15th or later. I appreciate the work that several dozen districts did to submit plans in time for the original one deadline. I recognize how challenging it is for school districts to complete the estimated planning work right now. I will announce a new deadline soon. And, people are concerned if it's going to get well. Because some of those urban districts got, significant amount of money, and to write a plan and to submit it and then for it not to be funded is troublesome. So, again, that's another unknown. They basically said, there was a roundtable, economic roundtable meeting yesterday. Bill and I were not able to join it because we were on another meeting, actually, Mr. DeFore. And so, Bill, did you get anything from that meeting?
I wasn't able to make it, but I did record it, and I have a summary. The short version summary is that they're expecting FY21 will be about 3 to 5 billion below current state revenue estimates. They are saying that Massachusetts is in better shape than other states because of this is Moody's and Poor's because of our tax codes and rainy day funds. And they also think most of the presenters stated that we'll be heading into a 1/12 budget because the state will not have their budget set by the end of June. They're looking at it going into the summer, and they may not have their state budget until the fall.
Wow.
Right, I think, Bill, I read something somewhere, or maybe I heard it, that basically the governor's budget, is a redo. The budget that he submitted in January.
Yes.
I think the Ways and Means Committee said basically he has to redo the budget now.
Yeah, it's a big change in the revenue numbers.
Right, because of the change in the revenue numbers.
No sales tax coming in.
No casino revenue.
That's right.
MCAS, from the commissioner, we previously requested and received a waiver from the federal requirement for annual statewide student assessment. Now, with the state legislation enacted, the MCAS testing requirement is waived for the remainder of the 2019-20 school year. As a result of these federal and state actions, and in light of the ongoing health crisis, I am canceling this spring's regular administration of grade level MCAS tests for students in grade 10. In addition, the legislation allows the Board of Elementary and Secondary Education, upon my recommendation, to modify or waive the requirements of the competency determination for graduation in order to address disruptions caused by the outbreak of COVID-19 or the state of emergency. I am considering various options, and further guidance will be forthcoming. We did have, Mr. Cleary and I were on a conference call with the commissioner as well, superintendents and assistant superintendents in the state yesterday, and there really wasn't anything new information, just that he's working on some of these issues, and he likes to use the phrase, he'll be getting back to us in short order.
Mm-hmm.
But, for him, there's a lot to consider. The 10th graders didn't take the ELA in math, competency determination. The 9th graders aren't taking the biology tests. I mean, those are all things that contribute to graduation. So he's working on that. And I don't know, Charlie, did he say he probably next week he'd be forthcoming with that more information on that?
It seemed like he was, there seems to be a bit of a wait for the governor's communication, and then his follow-up, as you said, short order, will kind of fall, I feel like dominoes once another announcement is made from the governor.
Right. And the one thing he did say, he urged all of us, just hold and wait. Because as you know, in the first closure, the superintendents, we were all, as you know, I was closing and everybody around was closing. And then the roundtables that are regionally based, all those superintendents coalesced and said, let's do this together. And so you remember that the Merrimack Valley, the letter that was sent out, 15 districts had joined that. So that was before the governor had made any announcement. So, we've been asked to, or encouraged to hold on to and wait for the governor to make, because people are getting nervous. People are asking a lot of questions. And if we go back, and will parents send their kids? Will teachers want to come back? I mean, there's just so many factors to consider. Whether people are really fearful of getting sick. So, so that completes my report.
Okay, I just have a couple questions.
Sure.
Actually, maybe just one. So, with regard to the middle school trips that were canceled, do you have any feedback on whether people were refunded their money, or how that worked?
I have a letter right here anticipating that question.
Mm-hmm.
So the families on the Mountain Classroom, they had sent in a deposit check. So the check will be returned to you as soon as we return to school. No check deposited. So
okay.
those folks are getting a full refund. The Washington D.C. trip is under the purview of EF.
Yep.
And so their travel vouchers may be used, very similar to what the high school parents receive. The travel vouchers may be used to travel on any tours. You have tours through September 30th, 2022. They are transferable at the face value of the voucher to an immediate family member or through a private transaction with another traveler in our district at no extra cost. A voucher may be redeemed for a standard cancellation refund option that is paid to EF less 25% of the program fee. And this allows EF to partially cover costs related to non-recoverable payments to a supplier staff and the investment EF made and continues to make an itinerary date and destination flexibility. So one of the things, we actually tried to, play around with maybe they could go on the trip as ninth graders, and collaborated with Mr. Christie. But in May, when they typically go, that's when the ninth graders have the science test. And they haven't released the dates for MCAS for next year. So there was quite a few factors that, again, we couldn't predict. But Mrs. Agee did contact Mrs. Capasso, so we did add in here that the trips at the high school, that money that they have with EF could be applied to the trips that we offer at the high school.
Right,
So,
good.
yeah, so that's good news. So parents were sent that information. The vouchers could be applied to the trip, and it would be an information night in the fall. So.
Okay. My only other thought too was when you talked about the 10th graders, and do you have any indication whether they'd have to take that MCAS test in order to graduate, if he's going to completely waive it?
None.
Okay. And I bring it up too with regard to that John and Abigail Adams scholarship that's tied to that.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people take advantage of it, but it is something that, is tied to that 10th grade test. So that would be an interesting, and pretty much, is the basis for determining who gets that scholarship.
Right. And I'm sorry, Joyce, did you want to say something? I didn't want to.
Oh,
No, that was actually me. I was about to say the exact same thing about the scholarship.
Yeah. Yeah. So, the commissioner, sometimes I say, wow, superintendents have a lot of decisions to make. Trying to handle all of this, it really takes some really deep analysis, thought, and planning, and, trying to anticipate unintended outcomes and so on and so forth. We're waiting the guidance, and I'm sure that I wrote it myself a note to maybe ask that in one of the Zoom meetings that we have. I'm sure that they are, as they consider what they're going to do for the current 10th graders, the fact that John and Abigail Adams scholarship is something people may depend on.
Yeah.
And want to get for their child. So I'm sure that's part of how they're going to figure it all out.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of, unforeseen consequences from some of these decisions. So I wouldn't want.
As I speak to you, I say, who would have ever predicted that this is where we would be?
Yeah, I know. Anyone else have any questions?
Yeah, just to go back for
go
a
ahead,
second.
Jim.
Yeah, just to go back for a second, I just want to just touch briefly on the DC trip with EF Tours. I think we're going to have to do more work there because for a lot of the families here, going to Washington, DC is a big trip. And they're not going to be able to use that voucher to go any of the other places that, the juniors typically go for a trip. So we're going to have to take another harder look at that, and at minimum we'll have to operate some sort of bank so people who are maybe going on big EF tours as juniors would buy these vouchers from families.
We lost you, Jim.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Now I can.
No?
Yeah.
I can hear you. Well, can you hear me now?
Yes.
There you go. So I think with that Washington, D.C. trip, we're going to have to take a harder look at that, because for many of the families, the D.C. trip is a very big trip. And they're not in a position that they're going to be able to go to Europe or the Pacific Rim or any of those sort of trips. So we may have to, at minimum, operate some sort of voucher bank. So certain families that are going to be sending one of their kids to a bigger trip will be able to purchase these vouchers through our bank. So we'll be able to, the people who can't go will be able to get compensated for the money that they put out.
Okay, that's a great suggestion, and I still haven't let go fully of the idea that as ninth graders, could they go? They study.
I would, yeah, my A choice is right there. That's my A choice. But
Yeah.
barring that, we're clearly going to have more work to do with that.
Yeah, I mean, they study U.S. history in ninth grade, and we checked with Steve Kendall in the athletics, and he said that wouldn't be a problem at that time. But the trip they don't necessarily have to go in May either.
Right.
So I think Mrs. Akey told me that there were about 90 students going, so we'd have to get 9 teachers to chaperone, and I think we could get enough chaperones, but right at this time it's hard to try to plan that, again.
Right.
But I thought that was a really good option, that they could go as ninth graders, and it would be very relevant to what they're learning.
Right. Cherry blossoms are April vacation.
I know. I was trying to fly down there. My niece is down there this year, and we had it all planned, and she sent me a picture and said, here are the blossoms, and nobody's here. And they're beautiful.
One thing we'd have to keep in mind is there probably are some students that are signed up to go to that trip that may not be attending the high school. So that would be a different case if they're going to the tech or something like that.
True.
They can still come back and go on the trip if the school will let them.
Yeah, I don't know.
I know. There's a lawyer.
Can I just ask, what percentage are we covered with the Chromebooks? What's the percentage of students that are covered with the Chromebooks are with their personal computers?
Mike is on here, I think. I think we've given out about 200 total.
Yeah, we've been able to fulfill any request that's been made for a Chromebook. Some families even have multiple Chromebooks to accommodate the number of kids at home. So I'm not sure of the exact percentage, but we've definitely fulfilled any request that's been made. And we have teachers, building principals, everybody reaching out to families to see who needs them.
Yeah.
That's important. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else have any questions for Dr. Malone? Comments on her report?
Have we had any feedback? Are there any families that are deciding not to participate in online learning during the scheduled April vacation?
Not that we've heard. I will check with the principals, but we had a meeting with the principals today. I have not heard that any families that have said we're not going to participate. As I stated earlier about the holiday, I was asked a question about some teachers have like Zoom meetings scheduled for Monday. And I said, I would not want you to run those meetings. I think that it's a holiday, and I think it needs to be a holiday for everybody. So I asked the teacher not to hold that meeting.
Okay.
But I will keep tabs on that, Jim, if, and I'll ask the principals to keep me informed.
Yeah, I just hope, we're in an extreme circumstance, so I would hope that us and the teachers would make accommodations on a case-by-case basis as needed.
Right. Well, that's why, I think the parents would welcome having a 3-day weekend too. And so that's why I said, let's take the 3-day weekend. And
Can we maybe just publicize that a little bit on the Facebook page, especially? Just sort of, hey, remember it's a 3-day weekend, get out, enjoy it.
I will, yes. Michelle?
Provide a weather update, please. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, I think this would make it a little easier if we just warm up a bit, but
Yeah.
a little bit of snow.
It's going to snow tomorrow.
Is it tomorrow?
I thought it was Friday.
Oh, was it Friday?
No snow days.
Okay,
The state just released that Shirley has 15 cases and Air has 27 cases. They just released the town information today.
Yeah.
I saw that, but I think that 27 number may include residents of the nursing home.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
They don't break it down.
Yeah. Okay, so anybody else for Dr. Malone for her superintendent's report? Or are we ready to keep plugging away? All right, moving on, ongoing business that looks like we have none that needs to be addressed. So subcommittee reports, Jim, if you want to take it away, we do have in our packets, Jim's proposal. And if you want to discuss, Jim, take your.
Yeah, what I thought we do, you all have it for your reading. I'm not going to read it into the record. I'd like to bring it back so we're all back together. But currently we have no vehicle for looking at our policies, and basically it's been my experience that if you don't go looking for a problem, the problem eventually will find you. So we need to establish some sort of periodic review. This is my probably draft number 8, a much slimmer version of my first couple of drafts, but I think it touches on the high points. It basically makes somebody sort of in charge. It puts a responsibility for policy, audit, and counsel on the school committee, because we're the only people that can put these policies into effect. Even if they are recommended by the state and MASC, we're the people who have to put it in our policy manual. So, and it basically makes one person to be in charge. Now, if you look on the appendix there, the primary and secondary policies, those are, I went through the whole list. There are 304 policies, but I also have the notes. Last fall, I had you all put together lists on what you thought the most important policies were to keep our eye on, and this is the composition of those. So in this, you can see that the primary policies, the ones that are going to get you in trouble and get you in the newspaper if you don't adhere to your own policy. That's what's going to be a problem. The secondary policies are ones that are going to detract from the environment that you're trying to create to initiate teaching and learning. And the tertiary policies are ones that just have to be there. Basically outlines roles and responsibilities that pretty much no one would take argue with. The primary ones initially on the way I've written it here would be reviewed once a year. There are 10 primary policies. So the chair of the committee is exempt from any audits because chairs have a ridiculous amount of work to do anyway, so they're not a part of this. Every other school committee member would be assigned 2 primary policies, and there are 10 of those, and 2 secondary policies. There are 20 of those. And then you would be given 11 tertiary policies. There are 274 of those currently. So you would have an entire year to review 15 policies. Now, the tertiary ones, you could probably do many of those in just an hour to do all 11. They're pretty well boilerplate. And the other ones you would have the rest of the time. You would basically review the policy to make sure that it's what we want, to make sure there are no defects in the policy, and to basically audit to see whether we are living up to the policy as printed. If there are no problems, you're reporting back, and the comptroller would just tell the superintendent's office, so there would be a list of when the audit was performed and that everything's okay. If there was a problem, then whoever found the problem would talk to the comptroller and or the chair, and we would queue these up and put them into the policy review, which would be a working part of every one of the school committee meetings. So if you get a chance to read through here, there are only a couple of typos there, and those are not Michelle's problem. She was reading my longhand, so the fact that she was able to do what she did is just absolutely astounding.
Thank you.
Yeah, the 4 question marks in a row in 3C, that's balance. And so that way, when we create, if we remove policies or add policies, we don't have to tell people how many tertiary policies there are. There are a couple other minor problems that I'll give to Michelle, but I think we should, if you guys get a chance to read this and take a look at the list of primary and secondary policies, that would be good. The only other thing I'd like you to think about, I started developing a grading rubric that everybody would follow when looking at the audits. And I'm not sure that's a good idea or a bad idea, because I kind of like the fact that policies are reviewed by people with varying backgrounds who look at things differently. And I kind of see that as an advantage. So my initial, I had another sheet here with rubrics for things to investigate. I kind of tossed it, but if you all would think about that and let me know your thoughts on it, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim. I think it's well thought out. One thing I would just suggest adding there is a rotation so that we're not all auditing the same policies every year. I think it kind of goes along with your thought of, you know, different expertises every year would be a good thing.
Okay.
Jim, so what happens in this scenario where a law changes or we need to update, you know, based on changing times or changing laws, or, you know, is that provided for in this?
No, this is just audit of existing policies. So if there's a requirement to change based on a law, that just goes to the front of the list and the chair would just put it under policy.
Okay.
This is only audit of the existing policy manual.
Okay. So is this kind of, I mean, I'm just asking questions because is this kind of just to keep us familiar with the policies in the manual?
Well, no, not for us to keep, hopefully we've written the policies to create an environment or control the behavior. So what we want to do is to make sure, usually the only time anybody looks at a policy manual is if there's a problem and somebody get in trouble. And then you just go look to see if we're doing it. So what this would be is like, suppose you were looking at any of these that had to do with like, say, background checks. You know, if Jonathan were looking at background checks, he might read through it and go, okay. And then he might go like, what if I got in trouble on a weekend, a motorcycle weekend in North Dakota a year and a half ago? Would anybody know that or not know that? And is there provision for that? You know, that sort of thing. And if there are requirements that things have to happen across a certain timeline, not only would you be looking at the actual audit in front of you, you may have to reach back to an administrator and say, hey, look, it says that we do this quarterly. Does this really happen? Is there a background? So that is a part of the audit to make sure that things are being complied with.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else have questions for Jim?
Jim, did you look at anything like, many times people will take July or one of the summer meetings, summertime, and have a couple of hours of policy seminar type stuff that you can familiarize yourself with, maybe more than, and discuss them. It's a posted meeting, of course, but it focuses only on policies and nothing else.
I had not considered that at all.
Okay. I think we did that once upon a time. I can't remember if it was with the region or not, but I think we did that at least a couple of 3 or 4 hours on a summer session.
I'm sure that
hit some of the main ones and make sure they were good.
Right. Yeah. And I'm sure that, you know, as we get into this with some of the audits, I'm sure that each one of us reading these will learn a little bit more, but I'm sure that if there are some important points that have to be brought up, even if we're in compliance, I'm sure that would be communicated during the school committee meeting.
Okay, thanks, Jim, for your work on this.
Okay.
Thank you, Michelle, for typing.
Times 2.
You're welcome.
All right, so I'm assuming, Jim, this will be like our other policy discussions we've had in our last several meetings, that we'll take this up when we're all face to face again, or do you want us to?
No, that's fine. Just keep this here. Think about the if you think we need some sort of audit rubric or not, and then we'll just talk about it when we're all back together in person.
Okay, so everyone kind of look it over, make your notes, develop your thoughts on how you envision it playing out, and we can work on it more when we can see each other face to face. All right, so chairman's notes, I have none. Other than just extending my thanks to everyone, school committee included, for flexibility with tonight's executive session, Mike Tebow for setting all that up for us, Dr. Malone for following through and giving us all the information we need to make it happen, and everyone that's involved, the teachers, everything that's been involved in this remote learning period. It's trying times for everybody, and I know administration, teachers, everyone is working double time than they normally would if we were in school. So I thank you all for everything you're doing and continue to do. So that's that. Any other topics for discussion not reasonably anticipated 48 hours in advance of this meeting?
I'll just jump in real quick just to inform the rest of the committee. We are kicking off tomorrow with the 4 unions, paras, food service, clerical, and custodian. We'll kick off the negotiations, and then we're going to sort of try and set a short tentative schedule, and then we'll kind of finalize that as we have more guidance on the closure or non-closure coming forth.
Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you for doing that.
I'd also like to say that last year when we took a look at changing the start time for school, we missed by a ton because most of the teams are sleeping way past our approved start time. My observation.
My kids are sleeping through their start time, so we've got to put some put some more I don't know, procedures in place in our house to make sure everyone's up and at their Chromebook.
There you go.
Well, there's always those people that like to stay up later. So when you know you don't have to get up, you say, well, let me read more or do something else. And, people that prefer to stay up later but go to bed earlier because they have to get up early, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely messed with sleep schedules for sure.
I can have my 9 and 5-year-old call your kids on the morning if you'd like. They're up at 6:30.
I'll text you their numbers.
Well, Dora, if it gives you any consolation, we've been there.
I know.
Some of us have
so early.
Some of us have to be work earlier than we've ever been before because nobody else is working.
Oh, God, Joyce.
Can I just say hi to everybody?
Hi, Stephen.
Hi, Steve.
I just want to say thanks to Dr. Malone, the school committee, Michelle, for doing all the work with the agendas and all the work there. Also, my Vice President, Linda. Also, I know that she's not there right now, but she was there in previous meetings. I just want to say thanks to everybody. And I appreciate you understanding this is a trying time for all of us. So thank you so much. And for your consideration with the MOA. I know I couldn't express that because I wasn't invited to the meeting, but I just wanted to say thank you for your consideration. And you can reach me if you'd like to clarify anything, a phone call, whatever it is. I'm more than willing to clarify.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Thank you to your fellow teachers, you and your fellow teachers.
Thank you.
All right. Anyone else before we? There's no communications.
I just have one quick thing about the communications. I think some things are being scheduled virtually. The award ceremony, has that been decided yet?
From what, I'm sorry. I was going to say that I have information about that from yesterday's meeting. Unless anything changed from the high school, that's supposed to have 2 separate ones, one for the seniors and one for underclassmen. I don't know if anything's changed. I didn't mean to jump in on your Dr. Malone.
Okay, no, I just wondered what the dates were. I know the National Honor Society induction is I can't find the email or the thing my daughter sent me.
I think it's like the Friday, the 12th or something.
Yeah, 15th, 14th.
Yeah.
Or I'll pull up the calendar. I know it's a Friday.
Mr. Christie sent out a notification to parents this morning that was quite dense.
I know, I was trying to find it.
Yeah, and so the the National Honor Society and the award ceremony, I mean, that's planned for later in May.
Yeah.
So we're looking, Mr. Christie, we're looking at how would you conduct a virtual award ceremony, but we haven't changed the date yet because we're not sure. what's
Right,
gonna
right.
happen. So we're
Right.
trying to go, obviously, we prefer to have a live event, but we do have to be planning in the event. We can't have a live event because we want to hold the event. I know, that was a lot of events, but
Yeah, so I guess with the communication piece, when we find out more about whether we're going back to school or not, we'll have more information about
right.
those dates and how to connect or attend.
Did you all receive the Blackboard notice he sent out as parents, high school
Yeah,
parents?
I have not opened it yet.
Oh, okay.
Well, you can imagine, well, you know how many emails you're getting. It's like insane. So I usually sit down at night and try to read through emails.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. At the back of it, at the last is end of year events and senior scholarship and awards. We cannot hold a live ceremony. We're looking for the best platform, Zoom or whatnot.
Yeah, I found it.
Yeah, the underclass awards night. So senior scholarships and awards, and then there's the underclass awards night, and then graduation. Again, we're holding out and to see what. Obviously, the prom has to be rescheduled because that was
Right.
and that was in the window of closure. And
Michelle, I forgot to mention too, I wanted to say thanks to Mike Tebow and to Charlie as well for their work with all the platforms that we've been working with Dr. Malone on the webinars and also for the school committee as well. So I forgot to mention them. Sorry.
Sure. Thanks, Steve. And since you brought it up, Cheryl, the document that came from the high school today from Mr. Christie and Dr. Meyer, I just wanted to pass along, Dr. Malone, if you could let them know that feedback that I've heard is very, that parents are thankful for the detailed notification and how thorough it was. So if you could pass that along.
I'll be happy to pass it along to Dr. Meyer and Mr. Christie. Yes.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, anybody else? Then I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
7:24, so moved.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Joe's on mute, but I know he said aye. All right, so at 7:25, we are adjourned.